What's up guys? Welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. Have you ever been watching a horror movie and thought, why aren't these people running away? Why are they going into the cellar? Why are these people so stupid? I do. I find myself trying to figure out how to kill a movie monster before we even get a chance to see it. Some movies have monsters you barely see or don't see at all. So how can you make a successful horror movie without showing the monster too much? Well, I'm your host Taylor McWatters, and here are the top 5 horror movie monsters you won't see coming. Number 5, the entity. It follows. So what's worse than being followed by an invisible monster? Well, how about being followed slowly by an invisible monster? That's right, the supernatural entity is the main antagonist of the 2014 film It Follows. Whoever has the curse is being followed by a dark, evil entity that's invisible to everybody except you. Yeah, this entity that follows you takes on the form of a human. It can even change its weight, gender, size, and even fashion sense. Not really feeling this shirt. Poof, different shirt. Must be nice. So this entity is a pretty powerful one to say the least. I mean, super strength, unlimited stamina, it never needs to sleep either. Another unreal thing. The scariest thing about this entity is that it doesn't stop following you ever. Hence the film title, It Follows. It walks towards you very slowly at all times. After I saw this movie, I was waiting for the bus and I couldn't look at slow walkers anymore. I wasn't a fan of them before, and I sure as shit I'm not a fan of them now. Another thing to know about this thing is that in order to pass on the curse of this entity, you need to have sex with someone. You can't just send them an email and be on with your day. You gotta get close. The entity will always follow the most recent victim of the curse and continue working its way backwards in consecutive order. Only those who have had the curse can see the entity. So even if you pass it on and you're good, you can still see it even when it's not coming for you. I feel like that's worse, if anything. You just see an old lady walking towards your friend's house, you're like, I know exactly what's gonna happen there. So what happens once you get the curse? Well, step 1, run. Run far and run fast. The writer of It Follows confirms that anywhere you go, it can go as well. So if you think you can just hop in a rowboat with a few White Claws and just head to an island for a year unscathed, you're wildly mistaken. If you haven't seen It Follows, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not into the movie, it's still a fun time to watch and imagine how you yourself would get away from this entity. It's a conversation starter to say the least. Number 4, Calvin. Life. First of all, the name Calvin is great, not scary at all. Calvin and Hobbes, those are my boys, ride or die. Life, starring Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds, and Jake Gyllenhaal, was released in 2017, directed by Daniel Espinosa. Despite its friendly name, Calvin is a biological nightmare. First discovered by a team of scientists on the International Space Station, or ISS if you're one of those cool kids who wears NASA shirts, Calvin is a rapidly evolving life form that supposedly killed all life on Mars. What begins as a very small sample of dormant organic tissue, each cell is a nerve, muscle, and an eye, all at the same time. So this thing can do some wacky stuff.
Wake up.
Okay, so right off the bat, you can see Calvin evolve and get smarter by the minute. It uses its tentacles to grab tools and then uses the tools to escape. He's really fast and slimy, so you won't see it coming at all. Kind of like an octopus, if you had an octopus in space and said octopus loved devouring people. Yeah, that's another thing. After it eats a test rat early on in the movie, Calvin grows immediately. Being stuck in space with a group of scientists, Calvin soon realizes what it must do: kill. And as far as horror movie monsters go, this thing is up there. I mean, the fact that it can grow essentially forever, mixed with it being immortal, there's no fight. You're out. This movie feels a lot like Alien, but it's much smaller scale, adds a sense of urgency to it. And the fact that they're scientists too, they're not like these military space soldiers sent in to shoot anything that moves. They just want to look at some cool stuff through a microscope and then, go down in history forever. Is that too much to ask for? Come on, guys. After the first trailer for the movie was released, it was widely speculated that it was in fact a Sony Venom crossover movie trying to tie in the Spider-Man universe. I believe that as well. But once I saw the movie, I think it's safe to say that the web slinger wouldn't have a chance with this thing. Zero chance. Sorry, Tom Holland. Tobey Maguire, maybe. Tom Holland, I don't know. Probably not. Number 3, The Invisible Man. Directed by Leigh Whannell, starring Elizabeth Moss, The Invisible Man was released in 2020. The film shares the same title as its villain, simply an invisible man. Also known as Adrian Griffin, after faking his own death and giving his estate to Cecilia Cass, the abusive ex-husband uses a suit with several small cameras to do his dirty work. Elizabeth Moss absolutely crushes this movie. I mean, for a villain that's invisible, her acting is so good. After I saw her performance in Jordan Peele's Us, I was really excited to see what else she did in the horror game. With all these movies that have an invisible threat, it's so hard to convince the audience just how alarming this monster is. And I think Elizabeth Moss did a bang-up job. So what about this Adrian Griffin guy? What's his deal? Well, he's abusive, mentally and physically, super wealthy, super smart, and well, he has an invisible suit. So you're What a combo. There's not much backstory given for Adrian's motives, which I kinda liked. Sometimes movies try a bit too hard to explain the villain, and it usually tips us off in some way how it's gonna be inevitably beaten. Less is more. I wanna know just as much information as the victims. Like, man, I spent $26 to see this movie and like $9 extra to grab a drink. Stop spoon feeding me the plot details. I'll get there. What I loved more about this villain is that I legit hated this guy as I was watching it. He uses the suit to make her think she's insane. He hides pieces of her work during an interview just to make her look unprofessional. He even drugs her so that she collapses. This dude sucks. How to fight somebody who's invisible? I'll tell you, baby powder, poof, and lots of fans. We've all seen Home Alone, we know what's up. Number 2, The Thing. The Thing does not want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies, nobody left to kill, and then it's won. Those were the words of R.J. McGreedy, played by Kurt Russell in the 1982 classic The Thing. Directed by John Carpenter, The Thing also shares the same name with the movie Monster. If you were a fan of the movie, you can catch the 2011 prequel starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So what is The Thing? Well, its true form remains a mystery, of course. So what do we know about it? Well, for starters, it can shapeshift. It can copy any organic material and take on the appearance of a close friend or even a pet. The Thing made its first appearance as a stray dog in the original version. One day you're hanging out with a buddy and then all of a sudden his dog's face opens up and tentacles start attacking you. It's not cool, man. Stop. No. Sit. Put those tentacles back in your damn mouth. This extraterrestrial organism is an ambush predator. It isolates the threat and then consumes it, wisely. So when the Thing attacks, it exposes its true form in a way. Once it bursts open, it exposes these random parts of organic matter that it's consumed over the past. So you'll see like eyeballs, maybe some bugs, some teeth just kind of hanging out there. Just a whole lot of you don't want to see. Similar to the Death Angels from A Quiet Place, the Thing opens itself up and exposes its vulnerability as well. So the only way to harm the Thing is to use fire or molecular acid. The Thing likes the cold, a lot. It can even go into cryogenic state until the next feeding frenzy and just hang out. Kind of like Captain America, except disgusting, you know? So what can't this Thing do? Well, it can't mimic non-living materials. In the 2011 prequel, we have Kate finding metal fillings in a pool of blood, tipping her off that there may be a way to get ahead of this whole operation. But it's not that easy. The Thing doesn't just take on the form of a friend, it can actually absorb memories and characteristics too. So you can't just find the guys in the room eating a lizard and call it a day. You're like, okay, that's obviously the guy. You gotta get some detective work going. Ask them the questions. And if all this wasn't bad enough, the Thing can divide and conquer. So you might see a random head with crab legs walking around, and then minutes later you see some dude's leg eating a bird. The smaller the form, the more it puts up a quicker fight. Whereas if the Thing grew into a larger, much more human size, it would continue trying to blend in and kind of play it smart. It'll even attack itself to cause a distraction while another form of itself gets away. Smart. Number 1, Bird Box. Released in 2018 on Netflix and reeling in over 45 million views within the first week of its release, Bird Box, starring Sandra Bullock and directed by Suzanne Bier, does not show the monster at all. Which, okay, some of us loved, some of us didn't love, some of us hated it. How can you show an entire movie based around a villain without ever showing them? Well, let me explain. So referred to as them, the creatures that roam the earth drive people insane simply by making eye contact. We find Mallory, played by Sandy Bullock, an artist who spends most of her time locked down and isolated from the world. And as mass suicides are spreading in Russia, Mallory surrounds herself with her dark art pieces. Mallory knows her loneliness is a choice, so she sets out to connect with other survivors during this time. So what's the monster? Why are people going crazy? Why is Sandra Bullock wearing a blindfold for a lot of this movie? This creature, or force rather, started in Siberia in Russia and started to spread over time. Once the force is seen by you, it will change the way you think. Possess you, basically. It manipulates your thoughts. Even if you're the happiest, most kind person on earth, this force will find a part of you that is dark and make it grow and overtake your mind, ultimately causing you to take your own life. The force can also take somebody like a murderer, someone who you know has already done dark and violent stuff, and propel them to continue harming others in a much more vile way. Charlie, played by Lil Ray Howery, who we all loved from Jordan Peele's Get Out, explains his theory to the other survivors. He believes that we have been judged by the spirit gods, by the all-seers, and they're taking a form of our darkest thoughts and fears to consume us and take over the world. So they're demons, basically. These monsters of mass hysteria don't have a physical form. The film was supposed to show the monster's true physical form, but after Sandra Bullock herself straight up laughed at the sight of the concept art, imagine Sandra Bullock laughing at months of your work. How amazing. The director decided maybe to keep it a mystery. Good call. There you have it, guys. Look, I know we missed a ton of monsters, so let us know in the comments which ones you want to hear from, and then we'll put them in a part 2 maybe. And as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos in the future. I'm Taylor McWatters. Okay, see ya. I paid $26 for this drink. Stop spooty-wooty me. What do we know about it? Well, for starters, it can shapeshift. It can shit its pants. Tobey Maguire, maybe. Tom Holland, I don't know. Probably not. He's too cute. I don't know why I said cute. We'll cut that out. He is cute. No, I'll say it. Tom Holland, you're cute, man. Like and subscribe, whatever.